What is happening, guys? JTF back at it again. Going to talk to you about something about fitness that I absolutely love. Today's focus is going to be about boxing. Now, most of you folks, a lot of my following, I gained because of my time working at a boxing gym. And for a lot of you guys, I helped you work on your technique. Maybe I made you see how great boxing was as a sport. Maybe I helped you wrap your hands. You know, it's been a huge part of my life. Hell, I met my fiance because of boxing, and I got my start in the fitness industry because of boxing. Boxing has literally changed my life, top to bottom. So today I'm going to share with you the 5 things that I have learned, top 5 things I should say, that I have learned from the sport of boxing. There's a lot to go over. Let's go ahead and dig into that right now. Number 1 is you never max out on your skills in boxing. It's a lot like life. In fact, everything on this list I'm going to try to tie into some kind of life lesson that you learn from the sport of boxing. But one of my favorite things about boxing is that you can never max out on your skills. You can box for 50 years and there's always going to be something that you can improve on. Your undefeated fighters out there, your most experienced fighters out there, there's always something that they can do better at. Now, me personally, I've probably thrown a billion jabs in my life, okay? But my jab can always get better. And my jab is awesome, but it can always get a little bit better. Your footwork can always get better. Your head movement can always get better. Your punches can be a lot stronger. It doesn't matter where you are in your career as a boxer, you can always find a way to improve. Number 2, boxing is a great example of how the basics frequently cannot be beat. Okay, in your life, you probably, if you're looking online, you see all these lists and stuff where people are trying to improve your life through a variety of hacks and tips, and people are always trying to sell you stuff that if you buy this thing or you do this thing, your life is going to be so much better. And we're made to believe that if we have things and if we continue to build things, then our life is going to somehow be better. But at the end of the day, it's really kind of the basic, simple stuff that makes life worth living, right? Great food to eat, great people to be around, family, friends, the core basics. Not the life hacks, not the weird stuff, not the additional stuff. We don't need those things. And it's the exact same thing in boxing when it comes to your training. Guys, boxing has been around for a really long time. It's one of the oldest sports in history. And what did boxers do when they were training in the old days? They were skipping rope, they were shadow boxing, they were sparring, okay? What do boxers do now? They're skipping rope, they're shadow boxing, they're sparring. There's a reason that some of this stuff hasn't changed. I mean, yeah, technology has kind of come in and helped them out here and there, and a lot of those guys use it. But I mean, at the end of the day, those basics are really all you need to achieve success. I mean, think about Rocky IV, the training montage from Rocky IV. Rocky's in the barn doing things old school, and he's getting stronger. He's becoming the better fighter. Where the Russian, he's got all of the technology, he's got all this cheater stuff going on, he's hacking his system, but even that wasn't enough to get him to where he needed to be to succeed as a boxer or succeed in life for that matter. Number 3, and this is something that I frequently tie back into my own life experience, is that in boxing, just like in life, you can catch your breath, you can reassess your situation, but stopping is not going to be allowed, okay? When I was training people in boxing classes and doing one-on-ones with them, I told them frequently, especially folks that were getting a little bit winded, maybe they didn't have the endurance to, finish the round, as long as this round is going on, you're allowed to get your hands up and breathe, protect your body, protect your face, and move. Always moving. Even if you're not throwing a strike, you're allowed to catch your breath and reassess your situation and find out when to attack next, but you're not allowed to stop. As soon as you drop your hands and you just stand back and catch your breath, you might as well just go ahead and lay down. So many times in life, it is so easy for us to just throw in the towel and quit. Life gets hard. Sometimes it feels like you're fighting a wall. You don't know where to go. In those instances, as easy as it may be to just throw in the towel, take your gloves off, and go home, our goal is to get to the end. We may not win the match necessarily, but we're going to go the distance. And that's something that boxing really helped me learn. Number 4, boxing science is really just a bunch of small, very minor details that are working together to help you achieve a greater goal. Now, when you go through my program, the Viking Army program, which I'm writing a book about right now, don't tell anybody, but when you go through the Viking Army goal setting program, what you're going to see is that you're going to be setting large goals, long-term goals that are going to be your big ticket items. But you know that I'm not going to go out and lose 50 pounds tomorrow. Like, that's an enormous goal. And in order to achieve that goal, you have to break it down into smaller, more achievable goals and make process goals, things that you're going to start doing during the day that are going to help you achieve that. Even if it might take a while, but the idea is, instead of trying to go after that enormous goal, we're going to go after those smaller goals that are going to help us achieve that larger goal. And boxing science is just that, okay? When I train people for boxing for the very first time, if they've never done it at all before and they're doing one-on-ones with me, it's rare that we even talk about throwing punches on the first day. Maybe even on the second day, maybe even during the first week. We're not going to talk about throwing any strikes. We're going to talk about balance. We're going to talk about knowing our surroundings. We're going to talk about our hand placement, how we're going to protect ourselves. We're going to talk about how we move. There's so much going on in boxing, and this part really blows with people's mind because they're like, I want to box, so that means I want to throw hands, right? And of course, that's what people want to do. But they don't understand that in order to box, in order to throw hands, you've got to know where your balance is. You've got to know what your stance is. You have to know how to move. You have to know how to breathe. You have to know how to protect yourself. All these things are just as important, if not more important, than being able to throw those strikes. Now, one of those things that makes this even deeper is that we'll say footwork, for example. I always tell people, you're going to step with the foot in the direction that is where you want to go. So if you want to go to the left, you're going to step with your left foot first. If you want to go to the right, you step with your right foot first. That seems pretty elementary, right? And it is, except for when you're trying to remember that while you're trying to keep your balance and maintain the proper width and stay on your toes and keep your knees slightly bent and keep your hips slightly back and keep your hands up to protect your face and your elbows in to protect the ribs, and you're watching your opponent reacting to what they do, and you're keeping your head moving, and you're trying to find a place to attack. Like, there's so much going on. The idea here, though, is to continuously achieve smaller goals, get that footwork figured out, get the head movement figured out, slowly start evolving that, and get better and better and better and better and better, and you're ultimately going to become a better boxer. And finally, one of my favorite things about boxing as a part of someone's fitness programming is that boxing meets you there. It doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. It does not matter what your history is or what your goals are. Boxing can meet you there and help you get to where you need to be. Guys, I've worked with people who are, kids, teenagers, super young people, all the way up through people in their 80s. I've worked with people who were absolute athletic machines, and then I've also worked with people who were morbidly obese. And the great thing about it is we maybe modified the workout based on what their goals were and where they were coming from, but boxing as a sport is able to be modified in a way that's going to let you do that type of programming no matter what your history is and no matter what kind of shape you're in. Boxing can meet you there. And it's one of the best things about it, guys, and it's one of the things that's made me passionate about boxing for the last, however long it's been, 8 years or so. Anyway, those are 5 things that I think make boxing incredible. If you think boxing is something that you might want to give a shot, I do this in the park right now. We do mid work in the park. We do boxing technique in the park. So I'm still doing boxing coaching. If you're interested in that, you can head over to my website. It's jtfvikingarmy.com. Please like and share this video if you thought it was cool. Let me know if there's any topics that you guys want to hear about. I go over fitness and nutrition and personal development. There's no topic that's off limits, so please hit me up with your questions and your comments and your suggestions or anything else that you maybe have. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next week. Until then, ever onward.